We're here at Durham Elementary, ready for a candid conversation with Dr. Amy Poerschke of Durham Elementary. Dr. Poerschke, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe help people understand a little bit about what makes you tick and what brought you to Durham?
Absolutely. Well, I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. I was raised by a single mom who worked many jobs to keep me involved with sports and extracurricular activities, and she drove me across town every day to actually make sure that I was in the best possible public school that I could be. And so there I had a teacher named Miss Gap who, because of the makeup of the school, I was able to have for 2 years. And that happened to be during a time that my family was going through some changes, and so Miss Gap was really the one that first kind of cultivated a love for school. She made the classroom feel just incredibly safe. I felt very accepted. And the whole school, was just really about celebrating and cultivating growth and a love of learning. And so I knew at that moment that I really wanted to be a teacher. So I started teaching in Houston. I joined Teach for America, and so I moved to Houston and taught in a school that has since closed down, but it was a really great first year experience and learned a lot about loving kids and building a strong classroom culture. And I quickly learned that in order to create that same culture for kids across different classrooms, I needed to become a principal. And so that's where my interest in getting my master's degree and then soon after my doctorate was really born out of a want of just creating a safe environment for groups of kids on a larger and larger scale.
That's cool. I think a lot of times people who can go on and achieve great success often have a story of, a trial or something that really formatively shaped them to drive them. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing a little bit about that.
Absolutely. It really just develops a great deal of empathy and care for just all kids and all parents, and recognizing that everyone is bringing the best that they have with them, and that you have to be able to work with that to get kids where they need to be.
Well, Dr. Poerschke, would you tell us a little bit about Durham, maybe what makes it special, and maybe even kind of what the makeup is of the school?
Yeah. So Durham ranges from about 570 to 590 students per year. That's about our cap is about 590. And we've got 45 teachers and about a total of 65 staff members. So it's a relatively small school. It's very homey. We're very diverse. We have about 60% of our students are Hispanic, 30% of our students are white, and then 20% are African American. And so we just have this beautiful, diverse mix of ethnicities. We also have a really great diverse mix of just different student backgrounds. And so we've got about 60% of our students who are coming from homes that are economically disadvantaged, and then we've got about 40% who don't. And so we think that that's really special and important, that kids can come and learn next to a student who might be different than them in a lot of different ways. And we also are a dual language school, and so kids are coming learning English or learning Spanish. And so it just creates a beautiful, diverse mix of kids that we think it's really important that kids can learn from kids that are different than them. And it really sets them up for success in the real world when they're going to have to work alongside people that are different and learn how to understand where people are coming from and work together successfully.
What are the key strengths of Durham? What makes it special?
So I think one of the most important things about Durham is because we have such a diverse group of students, the type of teacher that we attract and are able to retain are just these incredibly dynamic teachers. They are teachers that are able to support students from all academic backgrounds, from all social, emotional, and socioeconomic backgrounds. We've got teachers that can support students in 2 languages. And so I really think that that's one of the strengths of our school is just the quality of our teachers that we have. Like I said, because we're a smaller school, the teachers, many of whom have been here for a long time, have students or children of their own that attend the school. They're deeply vested in the success of their class, the success of the campus. They know our students by name. And so I really say that's the strength of our school is just the teachers and really the attention to detail and the level of diversity and differentiation that goes on in the classroom is really special.
In any great school, there's always lots of cool things happening. So what are some of the neat things that are happening at Durham right now?
So this week, off the top of my head, we have a really exciting thing happening in 3rd grade. So one of the standards in math is financial literacy. And so across Texas, everyone kind of right now is learning about profit and losses and just a business plan and kind of some academic content as it relates to financial literacy and personal literacy. And so one of the things that makes Durham so unique, though, is just this interest in really bringing the financial literacy to life. And so, for example, this week third graders are creating their own business. So they've learned about the different content of financial literacy. They've learned about what it takes to attract candidates and what their kind of net profit would be and just all of the content of financial literacy, but they're putting it in action this week and they're opening their stores in real life. And so many of them are selling bracelets, they're creating them, or they're selling a service of some kind. And so that is open to the public. They've been advertising, they've gotten their resumes together so that they can share kind of their qualifications and their skill set as they're looking to kind of, continue on their business. And so that's something that's really exciting.
I understand that Durham's an international baccalaureate school or an IB school. Can you explain what does that really mean? And for someone who's not well versed, it sounds important, is it?
It is. It
Okay.
is. So Durham has been an IB or International Baccalaureate school for 5 years now. We just went through reauthorization, and so in its simplest form, what I would say is in general, you have academic contents that kind of live in silos. And so you have reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. You have the 5 general contents, not to mention maybe the art, the music, kind of the enrichment courses as well. And so the goal of IB is that they're not in silos, but that they're more in thematic units. And so the best way I know how is to kind of share an example.
Please.
And so this year we had a grade level that studied in the unit of inquiry called Who We Are. We studied about cultural notions of beauty, and so how different cultures understand beauty in different ways. And so, for example, for the writing in that unit, they wrote kind of acrostic poems of their understanding of the word beauty. And so they would write beauty down, and then they would write, something that started with a B, E-A-U-T-Y, beauty. And they would do that at the beginning of the unit and then at the end of the unit to see their depth of understanding of beauty kind of change from just a surface level perhaps to more that beauty can be in nature, beauty can be in art, beauty can be in the music that we listen to. And then for science, at that point, they were studying responsible and irresponsible beauty testing on, animals and beauty product testing. And they also created lip glosses that were organic. And so we talked about kind of how that works and why that's important to be responsible scientists when we're creating beauty products. And then in social studies, we looked at kind of social media and how social media also impacts our perceptions of beauty in different cultures. We looked at articles, we looked at kind of racial implications of what we see on commercials. The math is a lot harder to tie in. That doesn't always happen, but in reading and then definitely in writing, what they were reading about all had to do with kind of beauty and how we understand beauty. And so it really just takes kind of the Texas standards are more of kind of the floor. That's kind of like we know that those have to be taught. But the teachers have a ton of flexibility on top of that to really create units that bring in all the different contents and are really applicable to kids. Kids are super engaged when they're talking about things that kind of spark an interest and sometimes even make them want to change, write a letter to someone or let somebody know that that's not a responsible thing to do, and it gets them really engaged.
So what do you think the impact of dual language has been, and what do you see going forward?
Certainly. So in the past and in many what are called traditional bilingual schools, you have a subset of classes that are bilingual classes, and then you have a subset of classes that are English classes. And those generally are pretty separated from each other in the class, in the school makeup, but also socially. There's a lot of separation socially between those kids, between those parents, and for no other reason besides the language and kind of the group of teachers in the cohort. And so that was the case at Durham. And then in 2015, we started the dual language cohort model. And so really what the positive impact that had, I think first and foremost, was socially. We were mixing kids and families from, again, those different backgrounds, different languages, and putting them right next to each other and literally having language pairs, both from a student level and a parent level. We hosted many of our parent meetings initially with having kind of a language buddy with the parents as well. And so I think socially was the greatest impact, because now all of a sudden you didn't have these just kind of separation going on at recess and separation in the lunchroom. Kids knew each other by name. And then, yes, academically, it's been a huge help for our students. Either for students that are learning English and just have more of an opportunity to kind of master the English language as they move into middle school was a plus for them. And we've already seen that in the data, that those kids are growing and performing really, really well in English. And also as an enrichment for many of our students who were already mastering English and really needed a challenge. And so along with IB, doing all of that kind of thinking and working in a second language just provides such an opportunity for just enrichment and extension. We have a large percentage of GT students, and so we are a neighborhood GT program, and that learning a second language, there's really nothing more challenging than doing this kind of critical analyzing and thinking, but then asking them to do it in a second language.
So what are the expectations that parents should have and students should have if they choose to come to Durham?
Sure. So I'd say two. First and foremost is progress. We are most concerned with really understanding where a student is academically, socially, emotionally, and really understanding where they are and then growing them from that point. So most importantly, we're looking for progress. That would be really the main core of the conversation with parents throughout the school year. Secondly, when we think about progress, we are really looking at character. We're looking for character building. One of the main goals of an IB education is to develop the learner profile attributes. And so those are, they're character building, but they also transfer into academics. And so something like being a risk taker means trying new food or, doing something that's new for you, but it also means being willing to try a new math problem that you might not feel completely confident in, or sharing your mistake with your teacher and learning from that. And so just there's these learner profile attributes, communicator, thinker, principled. These are all things that we look for starting as early as pre-K and start to develop those traits, and then that grows all the way through not only just fifth grade, but in the IB, it goes all the way through to graduation.
What are the opportunities for growth over the next couple of years? Where do you see the school going?
So Durham is preparing students for jobs of which have not even been created yet. And so I think that an opportunity for continued growth for our school and all schools is really looking past kind of the current knowledge of jobs and kind of what those jobs are going to entail, and instead looking at what are the skills that our kids need to walk out of elementary, middle, and high school with. And so things like thinking skills, like what are the specific types of thinking skills that kids need to be able to leave elementary school with? Communication skills, self-management skills, their research skills, their social skills. These are all things that are really transferable, and so regardless of the content of which we will, of course, continue to teach, I just think it's really important that we continue to think bigger about the type of skills that kids are going to need to be successful in the 21st century work environment.
Dr. Poerschke, when talking to a family or to a parent who is maybe on the fence, they're trying to determine, do I go to Durham, do I go to the local school, do I go across town? What do you say to someone who's really trying to make a decision?
Yep. I think first and foremost is really unpacking what is most important for you in a school environment. It's really understanding what it is that you're looking for. I think one of the best things about our school district is that there is an opportunity for choice. And so you can really reflect with your family, think about what are those top values that are most important to you, because not every school is going to have and be able to meet every value. And so I think it's important for us to just be clear about that. If something like, diversity, a family feel, high academic rigorous content, inquiry-based hands-on learning, if those are some things that are really important to you, I would encourage you to come and visit the school. Come and visit Durham. Walk in the main office, meet the main office team. They are the most warm and welcoming individuals. You'll immediately feel like family. Like I said, because we're a small school, we're able to provide a really high level of customer service. We know our families by name, but come on over to the school, let us tour you around the classrooms, and just watch the kids. See how happy the kids look and how happy the teachers look, and we hope that you'll choose Durham. We're a great school that has a lot to offer, so we hope that you choose Durham.